From the canticle of the dragon, thus began the age of despair. The roads were tangled.
The winds and the sandstorms dwelt in the husks of cities.
The plains and mountains became our home.
As the old gods lost their power, we called to the blank sky.
Into the cold, dividing gray, to the ears of new gods.
The sky is calm, silent, unmoving. We have yet to hear their answer.
Their answer.
Their answer.
Their answer.
Their answer.
We have yet to hear their answer. Life is full of noise and chaos, distractions from truths about ourselves that we hide deep down in the pit of our stomach. We hurry from place to place, moment to moment, friend to friend, desperate to find anything to drown out the sound of that truth. But there comes a time, after battle, after the hard moments, when we sit down and stare at the fire, exhausted. And it's then, in those quiet moments, that the truth becomes our only companion. Why is it that we're alive? What are we here in this world to do? Why do we bow our heads to kings? Or why do we fight? Why do we cry? Why do we laugh? Why do we love? It's in those quiet moments that we look at the ugliest part of ourselves. And if we were brave enough to look deeper into the mirror, then maybe we can find something else, something better. We can find answers. The last time we saw our companions, they had escaped the Battle of Dargard Keep. They had survived Lord Soth against the odds, rescuing the young orphan girl Lily, the golden general Lorana, and a great hero of Krynn, Tanis Half-Elfen. With only 3 days to prevent a terrible apocalyptic future, a future that only the chronomancer Honoria and the knight Sir Riordan remember. Tonight our companions must look deep down into themselves and answer 2 questions. Why am I here? And what will I do next? So as we begin tonight, the winds are howling. The early chill of winter is set in. Rokon and Agatha, you are walking down a wide road away from Dargard Keep. Behind you, smoke rises into the clear blue morning sky. The town you left behind is burning. You can see through the tree line off the road, the hunter's cabin where you were meant to meet up with your other companions. A faint light spills out of its window, covered by a passing shadow for a moment, suggesting movement inside the house. Meanwhile, with you, riding on a young bronze dragon that tromps down the road, is Tanis Half-Elfen, his arms wrapped around the back of the dragon's neck. He's wearing a green cloak covered by leather armor. Tanis is staring off down the road. His jaw drops. He has a stunned expression on his face. And both of you can follow his gaze and see just some 30 feet ahead of you, Sir Riordan standing in the middle of the road with a smile on his face.
Why, Tanis,
You look like you've seen a ghost.
The dragon stops. One large clawed foot halfway above the ground, and in the middle of its stride, it falls back a shift. And Tanis kind of blinks away that dumbfounded look from his face. Sir Riordan, how are you here?
Perhaps we should retrace our steps, Tanis. When's the last time you saw me?
He looks back nervously over his shoulder and down to Agatha and Rookone. But he does look back to you, and slowly he slides off of the back of Fireflash's neck. His feet land lightly on the ground, and he takes a couple of tentative steps forward, still looking a little unbelieving at you, Sir Riordan. But he does answer. When you stood to fight Soth, Palanthus.
Yes. Yes, that's the last I saw of you too. Well, of your back, anyway.
You broke my order. Because of you, Goodman died.
I do not follow you, Tanis. I follow my general.
Right, I think that's enough talking. Let's get inside.
He looks back to Agatha. Then the two of you, you're with Sir Riordan?
No.
You were in Palanthus as well?
No. Very long story.
I was there. For a moment.
Where is my wife?
Safe. Inside.
Then I'm going to her. And he lets go of Fireflash and starts to move as though he's going to move past you, Sir Riordan.
He lets him past.
Honoria didn't realize it, but she was holding her breath as Tanis passes by Riordan, and she lets out a soft exhale.
And Honoria, you would be watching from like just outside the cabin, so he's actually moving past past Riordan towards you and the cabin. Inside the cabin are Nova and Averin, with Lily, the young girl, and Lorana, who are both sleeping currently. And Tanis, as he passes you, he stops for a moment, Riordan, and he leans over. You got those men killed.
No.
Yes.
I wonder, Tanis, what did you tell the general happened at the barricade?
I told her that I ordered a retreat. And you broke my order and encouraged the other men to do the same. I told her that you were dead.
Yes. What happened to those men you told to break ranks? Chased down by the banshees, I believe. And you flew away on your dragon. I dare say that could have evened the odds a bit. Tanis.
You and your small-minded sense of honor.
Do you wish to do this now, Tennis? Or do you wish
No.
to see your wife?
He
Mark my
brushes
words. See your wife,
yeah.
and then you will see me.
He brushes past you, and he does that like shoulder check as he does so, just a little bit.
He better bring it, because there is no way that Riordan's going to move if he does that. Riordan would have let him pass, but if he's going to deliberately shoulder check, there's no way he's going to budge.
All right. You want to make this an opposed athletics check?
Yeah, and I'm using inspiration.
Go for it.
23.
So what's Riordan's counter here?
He doesn't move. He doesn't actively like go for him, move his own shoulder into him. This is just a small man bouncing off a larger one. Though it is beneath him, he enjoys it.
He does. He checks you with his shoulder and it strikes your pauldron, and he does bounce back. He almost loses his footing, but he's very graceful. And he stops for a moment and kind of grabs his shoulder, lowers his head, and then he beelines for the cabin.
And though it is beneath him again, Riordan will glance over the same pauldron and see Tannis walking away, stare at his back and say, "Ah, there's the Tannis I know."
And here was I thinking you smiling was a good thing.
So, Rugon's also going to try to stable this dragon if he'll, like, let him. Try to, like, keep him close to the house and, like, guide him to the side. See if we can.
Roll me an animal handling check.
Okay. That is, I'm assuming this has nothing to do with athletics.
It just depends on how bad you roll.
20.
So you're able to communicate with the dragon and get them to the side of the house, but you quickly recognize as you're kind of working that the dragon is intelligent. It has an intelligence, a sentience that is equal to a man's. It doesn't communicate with you, but it does sort of see what you're doing. It will go to the corner of the house, kind of worming its way in between trees to get there where there's a small clearing. But it does keep its eyes on Sir Riordan once it's there.
And I also want to apologize to it for punching its eyeball.
With a 20, you hear like a low rumble in the back of its throat as it kind of settles down at the corner of the house. But just slightly, it gives you a small nudge with its nostril, and you're not sure what exactly that's meant as, but it doesn't seem aggressive.
I want to apologize. Something clearly was going on, but I also want to make clear that if you plan on attacking my friends, this won't end well for you.
Roll me a persuasion check. Dragons are strange and fantastical creatures. You hear another rumble in the back of its throat. This one sounds a little less passive, but it doesn't make a move. It just stands there and watches. For a moment, let's move inside the cabin while this is playing out. We have Avrin and Nova. Honoria standing just outside the cabin. Nova, you had been looking for food, supplies. So go ahead and roll me anything, really. Perception, investigation.
Sure. I will roll you up an investigation. 27.
So what is it that you're hoping that you'll find inside this hunter's cabin?
She's particularly hoping to find some paper. She's got stuff to draw with and on, but a lot of hers already has doodles. So she's hoping to find some clean sheets of paper or a journal would work. Food, snacks, maybe some basic medical, like bandages, something she could turn into bandages, stuff to make everybody more comfortable, and stuff for her own personal projects that she wants to start getting in. Because she's, now that we're not in town, people are sleeping, probably not going to move them right away, so she's got to find something to do.
So you're able to find clean clothing that's easily stripped into bandages. You're able to find plenty of packaged food, the sort of rations that you would take out if you were going on a longer venture into the woods. You're able to find pen, quill, paper, writing supplies, even some paint. You find a very poorly done self-portrait in the bedroom with some paints in the corner.
Excellent. Well, I'll leave the self-portrait. Well, I'm gonna borrow the self-portrait. I'm just gonna, hold it up, stick it in the arm. But I'll take all the supplies out and be like, I found food, and if anybody's hungry, and then she'll kind of just plop down on the floor on her stomach, pull out a piece of paper and a quill pen, and start drawing.
Avrin, roll me a charisma saving throw.
I'm gonna use inspiration.
Okay.
17.
Just like before, which I actually think that's the same thing you rolled last time you made a charisma saving throw. You feel that growing hunger, and you know what it is. You've been resisting it. You only almost gave into it once, but it has been since Hawthorne was with you that you fed. And you already have one level of exhaustion from not eating. For a moment, you see Nova sit down there with her paper out, working on her personal project, and that vein in your forehead and your temple begins to pulse like a heartbeat. But you are in control.
For how much longer, though, she has no idea. Yeah, she, the last time we left her off, she was in the corner of this cabin trying to distance herself as much from the rest of her friends, but especially the young girl. And she had basically curled up there trying to, and actually talking to herself, repeating the chant of not them over and over again to try to hold on to some form of control of the situation. But she knows that it's only going to be for so long, and she's looking outside. She's looking at the windows with the curtains closed, and you see the slightest peek of sunlight through it, and she also knows she can't go outside. So she is a very hungry animal inside of a cage right now.
Also with you, Avrin, on the ground, asleep by the fire, is Lily, curled up in a blanket that's much larger than she is, and in a black dress embroidered with a single red rose down one side of it. Also partially covered in a blanket is Lorana. And when you peek out of the window, even though you're trying to avoid sunlight directly on your face, you see through that blinding flash of the outside, you see Sir Riordan out on the road, and you see a figure shoulder to shoulder with him. Red beard, green cloak.
Her eyes definitely narrow whether to squint through the brightness or to look at this figure. But she stays in her corner and watches. So I think at some point before this figure arrives, she'll look over to Nova and just go, I should probably let you know I haven't fed in a while.
Oh, you're right, and these snacks don't work for you there. Well, does it have to be people? Could I go, like, get a squirrel for you or something? Would that work? Or does it have to be...
I'm not sure.
Okay,
It's just,
keep my eyes out for squirrels.
Just need to have a mind.
Mm-hmm.
I can actually tell. And I think she's looking at Nova's eyes, but her eyes are kind of flicking upwards towards where she sees that kind of miasma of like psychic energy where her brain is. And she just
keeps a big brain too.
And she just keeps doing that. She's not trying to, but can tell that her eyes.
Worry. I'm making you something.
Okay. I'm going to stay over here for now.
Okay. I'll tell everyone that you're just chilling in the corner and not to bother you unless you ask to be bothered.
Oh, so there's someone coming in soon.
Oh, great. More friends.
We'll see if they're a friend or not.
If not, you can eat them, right?
We'll see how Sir Riordan feels about it.
Okay, I mean, we don't have to tell him if nobody likes him. We could just be like, oh, come here, let's go out back and look at the woodshed. And then you could be like behind the woodshed and just...
I think Aaron does actually crack a smile. I appreciate it. But also I need to make sure that I don't act like most people expect me to.
You should never have to act to someone's expectations. Just be yourself.
I think she'll kind of like smile and shake her head a little bit.
As you're discussing the finer points of who to eat, who not to eat, whether or not squirrels count as food for Averin, we'll go back outside now for a moment to Honoria, who's standing just outside the cabin. And at this point, Tanis is quickly approaching the front of the cabin. Are you standing in the doorway? Where are you standing exactly? What are you doing?
I'd probably be standing right beside the doorway. There's a lot going on in Honoria's heart and mind right now, but she wears a half kind of curled sneer as she watches Tanis approach. And she keeps her hands folded inside of her black robes and very carefully watches the expressions on his face. He does have half-elven heritage, so he could probably hide his emotions better than most, but it's clear that Riordan has unhinged him a little. What can I glean from his emotions currently?
Roll me an insight check.
It's a 13.
Well, you will notice as he's walking away from Riordan, he does kind of rub his shoulder where he cracked into Riordan's armor. But he brings his head up after a few feet passing him, and he moves with purpose. The only thing you can get from his expression before he reaches the cabin is there's a definite sense of worry on his face. But when he approaches, when he gets close to you, he slows down a little bit and he kind of gives you a side eye. And it looks like as you're sizing him up, he's also sizing you up.
So long from home.
He stops just at the door and looks aside to you and says, I don't know who you are, but is she all right?
I have been watching over her. She is the general, after all.
Who are you?
I am daughter of time. Go. Go to her. And as I say this, I'm kind of looking past him and watching Riordan at the same time, trying to keep both of them in my field of vision so I can see how each of them is reacting to each other's words.
When you say you're the daughter of time, there's a flicker of recognition in his eyes, as though it actually means something to him, but he shakes his head just slightly. And
what does that mean to you? And I cast Honoria's Minor Eyes of Time. I'm not letting any sliver of information go there.
All right, so what are you hoping, what outcome are you looking for here?
I want to know if he knows the person that would be my master, or if he has a fear of Fistandantilus.
So your eyes glow with a golden light, and as it does, your skin glows too, and the world slows, it grinds down to a halt around you, and it speeds up and explodes into all directions, and you see many possible futures. You are parsing them out as well as you possibly can. Roll me another insight check, and I'll give you advantage on this.
Oh, good, because I was going to use inspiration, so that's a 19.
You see many possible interactions within the next 6 seconds that you could take, and again, the result that gets what you want is to mention your master's name. And then all of a sudden, all of those futures, those possibilities collapse inward, and you find yourself back in your body.
Oh, I see. And I just look inside slowly at Laurana. Is she still breathing?
And at this point, he's pushed open the door and he's swept in. He didn't shut the door behind him. He stops, sees her there on the floor, half covered, and immediately goes to her side and is checking her cheek. He puts his hand on the side of her face, is listening for her breath. And then he kind of just sighs and kind of sinks down to his knees and covers her a little bit more.
Dawn, Riordan's gonna follow him in, and he's gonna stay in the doorway, maybe meet Honoria's gaze for a moment. And as he walks in, he wants to make sure the last thing he told Lily was protect Laurana and don't let anybody close. So when he walks in, he's just going to put a hand up towards Lily because she's been incredibly diligent about following orders. And I just, as much as I'd like to see her hitting with a stick.
I mean, that's actually really good timing. So you put your hand up just in time. Lily, who was pretending to be asleep right next to Laurana, pops an eye open and she springs up and grabs her wooden play sword, her practice sword, and she looks like she's about to strike Tanis, and then she sees your hand and she kind of shrinks back and doesn't know what to do for a moment. Let's go back outside for a moment while we have more people inside the cabin now. I want to know, what's Agatha doing as she sees first Tanis move inside the cabin, then Sir Riordan?
I think Agatha is contemplating which direction along this road to walk. She's pretty sure going back through the town isn't a great idea right now, but she knows an army just marched from the direction the other direction. So her eyes kind of drift back up to the castle where she was a prisoner, and then she's broken in and out of it a few times. And she's just trying to figure out which way to go. She remembers roughly the journey up the road from Melamé, but she doesn't remember set in other parts due to Vistani magic. So she's trying to just get her bearings and figure out which way to go because it's daylight. And she's tired to the bone. And she's getting the impression that Riordan's girlfriend might not be Riordan's girlfriend, and she's kind of done with that drama. So she's planning to get moving because they failed a lot of shit last night, and she wants to go and actually do some good stuff.
So are you trying to get your bearings so you can leave right now, or are you just kind of taking stock?
She's definitely thinking about leaving right now. I don't know if her feet are actually going to carry her when the thought becomes that's the direction, but that's her current. All right, I've had enough. Let's.
Well, roll me a perception check.
I sure will. Roll 20.
And I'll say, as you're doing this, Agatha, you are familiar with this land, but in a different world where things are just everything is a little left of how it is here. There was no Malmene.
A very long, 36 hours or so that we've been awake now. So everything's a little bit strange, that tends to be when you're a little sleep deprived and you've just been through a lot of fighting, seen a lot of people die.
You know that Malmene would be west of here. You basically, you know how to get there or close to there. You know that it lies on the Vanguard River, on the east side of the river, and you know where Dargard Keep is, at least if it's in the same place it was in your world. And as you're kind of exhausted and processing and kind of placing where you are and where you want to go, what roads you might take to get there, you don't notice until it's actually pretty loud behind you, the clomp, 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 clomp of several horses coming from the direction of town.
And instinctively, she would drag herself back to cover. The bow would just be in her hand. She wouldn't even remember pulling it from her back. The arrow notched as she's trying to figure out who's coming now. She knows we just dragged this guy out and his dragon. She knows there were dragons still in town when we left. Although it seemed town seemed to be winning. The tides were turning for now. But yeah, she's straight back. She's on guard, watching the road, trying to figure out who's coming out to say hi, because we're kind of in the open even with a cabin.
Is she in the open, or is she trying to hide herself and watch? How are you doing this?
Looking for either a bank of snow to throw herself behind, a tree, a low wall if there's one outside the cabin, something half cover in nature. I mean, whatever's close, but it's going to give her some cover.
Roll me a stealth check. It has been snowing pretty frequently, and you're able to jump back behind a couple of bushes on the side of the road between two trees that are covered in snow. And as you jump back and kind of peek out, what you see are 3 horses, and atop the horses, 3 skeletal knights riding them down the road away from town. Behind them, a line of shambling undead infantry armed like an army would be. They are just almost mindlessly moving south of Dargard, away from the town. And though most of them don't seem to notice you, one of the lead riders does turn, and you see its skull kind of rattle against the wind, and it looks at you with empty eye sockets, but you know it's looking at you. And then it turns back and keeps on riding.
Agatha is going to make a low animal call, hoping to get the attention of Rook, who's been her kind of staying ally through all of this, and probably the only one she trusts to be able to deal with anything at this point. And try and get him, because she knows he's out here somewhere. She didn't see him go in the cabin, so he's around the corner somewhere. So it's kind of a low, it's like a wood pigeon type noise, some sort of animal that would just catch his attention. Crazy. I can't. It's
I can't either. But Rookone is like right there. He's at the corner of the cabin, so you would at least like hear the sound, and you would be able to see Agatha kind of duck down between a couple of bushes. And if you were to look past her, you would see moving through the tree line a line of undead infantry.
No, he props up and starts walking towards the door of the cabin and goes into the cabin.
We have to leave. We have to leave right now. Pack your shit. Let's go.
Inside the cabin, and Agatha, are you staying outside or are you staying behind the bushes?
Yeah,
So
she's saying.
kind of watch. So as Rookone, you walk in, you would see kneeling down next to Lorana is Tannis Half-Elven, red beard, green cloak, and he's got a little cup of soup, and he's trying to spoon feed her. She's kind of awake, but you notice that her eyes are just kind of dull. They just kind of stare forward. She does hold his hand. They're kind of holding each other's hands tightly. And everybody else in there, too. Everybody kind of gathered, Oberyn off in the corner. Lily has moved at this point around to stand by Sir Riordan, and she's basically like looking him up and down, and whatever he does, Lily is trying to mimic as much as she can.
And absorbing this information, I take my fist and I plunge it through the wall.
I said now!
Nova's scoops the papers all up into a pile. Just getting it together.
Tannis stops and he looks up and he says, "What is it?"
It's an army of dead at our door. Get up, get your shit, leave your fucking past behind you, and get the fuck out of this house.
We usually don't curse as much around the child, but these are trying times, Tannis.
I don't understand what is going on. Do you have a safe place we can go?
That was Riordan.
There are no safe places here.
Well, then,
Rookone goes back outside the house and then tries to make eye contact again with Agatha. And then he's gonna signal.
Is Agatha watching the house or is she watching the road?
I think she's watching the road.
That's what you would
She's
see.
probably counting them off in her head.
So then Rookone will make the same animal sound that he had heard, which I'm hoping was something more naturey than a
I see that
shitty
you
whistle.
know of the wood elf pigeon. That's exactly the sound.
Is it a wood elf pigeon or is it a show tune? But you turn around and there's Rookone in the doorway. You've been counting off the undead. They keep shambling past you. Another one, Agatha, does turn, and again, just sort of rattling its head, it stares at you for a moment, stops, and then turns and continues to walk. They're moving south.
She's sorely tempted just to keep swinging because that seems to be how the theme of this event is. But she's holding off because there's a lot more of them than there is of her. And she's tired. She's got it in her, but she's tired right now.
And then you hear the bird song.
And she'll glance over her shoulder.
And without using sounds, with sort of like that military talk with the hands and the gesturing, he's going to look behind the cabin and point in that direction. And we're going to be heading opposite of the way that we see the army traveling, and then in the direction of the rear of the cabin.
So you're leaving and you're heading north back towards the town. That's what Rookon wants to do?
So the undead are marching from the town, correct? To
That's
the
correct.
doorstep of this cabin.
They're not marching, they're passing the cabin. They're just continuing on down the road south, which you would know would go back towards eventually Hearthfire, the crossroads.
All right, so then maybe this was a drastic overreaction.
You don't know.
You
It's an
don't know?
army out the front door of the cabin where we are all sheltering.
Rook has a realization, like, wait a minute, they're passing us. It's just...
So then he's going to crouch down and kind of just watch their behavior to see if they alter anything, and keep an eye on Agatha and an eye on the army.
Back in the cabin, Tanis he's like already, because he's following what you did, he like picks Lorana up in his arms, and she kind of curls into his shoulder a little bit, and he comes out to the doorway and he says, "All right, what's going on? Where are we going?"
We have 3 days to get back home. Wherever home is for each of us. And he'll flick his eyes over to Averin. In 3 days' time, I will meet the Lord of this land. I would see you all clear before that happens. Then he would turn to Nova.
Who's got like a bundle of papers? Like, so she's trying to like blow the ink dry real quick before stacking it on top of another paper, and she's just like, "Oh, hi dear, by the way," to Tanis.
Hello. What are we doing exactly right now? Are we staying here? Are we going?
I believe the first stop on our tour is Malmene. And then from there, and he'll look at Honoria, we have a date with a lake.
Mm-hmm.
And we must avoid Fistandantles.
I'd almost thought you'd forgotten.
It seems I must remember things that have yet to pass.
Put Lorana on the dragon. Reardon should go with her. Tanis, we need you to stay with us.
Oh, Tanis there. It's nice to meet you. My name's Nova. Nova Sparkfire.
He doesn't reach to grab your hand because he has Lorana like in both arms.
Oh, it's okay. I can wait.
Wait, I'm sorry. She's not going with you. She's coming with me.
And where are you going, Tanis?
We'll figure it out. Unless you have an idea, Riordan.
These were the General's orders. To continue along this path, Tanis. You would not defy your wife, the last breathing orders that she stood. Would you?
Jordan cast an eye at Honoria while she's saying this.
Roll me a deception check, Tia.
I'm gonna use some inspiration on that. That's a 21 there, Don.
Yeah, he seems to. Oh, that was your last inspiration.
That
He
sure
seems
was.
He seems to buy it. That at least your lie, and he says, "We've been apart ever since the shadows took us and brought us here. I don't know what's going on. So before we go anywhere, why don't we sit down and talk this through? If we can escape this place and get back to where we were before, make things right, let's work together."
We want you to come with us, Tanis. You are part of what we need. Come with us to the Lake of Sounds. Let us end this once and for all. Let us go home. It is not only about us, but She looks over to Lily. A sad look comes across her face. We have children with us, Tanis. Have you no honor?
Of course I do.
Then we cannot stay here. The undead army at our back, as Rakon has pointed out. Let us at least move off into the cover of trees to sit and talk, and I will tell you all that I know.
Very well, I will follow you.
I start walking out the door.
As she turns and walks out the door, Tanis turns and looks at Riordan. And he says, quieter than before, "Is she with you, Riordan? That one?"
She is. She doesn't break rank.
And he turns to follow her out, but as he does, without even looking at Sir Riordan, he adds, "You know what she is."
And I know what you are. And yet I walk with her.
He says nothing. He keeps walking.
Are they walking out the door where I'm standing near?
Yeah. So Honoria, followed by Tanis and Lorana. Sir Riordan, are you leaving as well? Nova, Avron? It is daylight outside.
It
Yeah.
sure is.
I check the daylight levels. I hold my hand out there and I look, and I hold up a finger and I run to the back to where all the beds were and I take all the sheets off. And I'm gonna be like, all right, I cover her up. I'd cut eye holes, but I'm afraid, the sun would get in, so don't worry, I'm gonna make you a tent. Let's go.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm gonna make you a tent. We're all going outside. It's gonna be story time. It's gonna be great. Also, unless you want to go into the arm, in which case I made you something. Still a work in progress right now. So I can't. I'm not. Not gonna show it to you all the way. If you don't want to go in the arm right now, you can be in the tent. And I can finish it because I've only got a couple pages so far. I just figured you should be included in the conversation.
I mean, I should, but the last time I tried to, just use, and she'll indicate towards the fabric, something like that, it didn't work so well for me.
But you're fine inside here. She kind of goes, must be the density or the, okay, hold on. And she's gonna run over, she's gonna get the stew pot. And she's gonna be like, all right, you just put this on your head. And then she's gonna go and get some of the thicker, layer up the sheets until she can't, she holds it up. She does a light test. She's like, all right, you should be good now. She pulls pries apart one of the beds, gets a bunch of wood. It's gonna be a small tent now. I was gonna make you a nice big one with pillows and stuff, but it's just gonna be a small thing now.
So Avron has a pot on her head?
Yep. That way it doesn't get to you. Then throw the sheets over there and just I'll guide you.
It's a matter of time.
And I'm gonna build her a little lean-to, out of pieces of board from the bed, and so that sunlight can't get it, but she can still be included in the conversation.
I'm visualizing the scene in Toy Story 2 where they're hiding under the traffic cones and going across the road.
Yeah, Avron is just kind of at this, when you're just this might as well happen today. That's where she's at today, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's awkward walking with a pot on your head, but you do it. It does seem effective in keeping the sun from burning your face.
Cool.
And so that's a thing that happens as the companions begin to exit the cabin together. Sir Riordan, what are you doing? Are you just following along the others? Are you doing anything particular? Lily's with you.
Yes, he was going to kneel down to be on Lily's level, and he would indicate the space.
Is there anything you need from here?
She looks back, then she stares at the fire for a second, and their eyes go up to the mantel place up above it, and there's a series of paintings depicting hunters up there. One of them is a group of 5 hunters, all kind of arm over each other's shoulders in front of a fire. Some of them have drinks in their hands, and they're all kind of posed like faux heroically. And she gets up on her tippy toes and she tries to reach up and grab that picture from the mantle, but she can't quite reach it. So after a moment, she goes over and she grabs a stool and puts it down there by the fire. She gets on top of the stool and she reaches up and she gets her hands just on the edge of it. And you can see her arms shaking. She's stretching so far, but finally she pulls down the picture. She kind of holds it in both hands and looks down at it. And then she looks up at you and she just nods her head.
I'm assuming that this is a canvas that's been framed.
That's correct.
Okay, is there a way that he can collapse the frame and roll it up? And if there's like a burlap sack or something, kind of put it in there to keep it from the weather, because you mentioned it had been snowing. Just, canvas and moisture usually don't mix real well, so.
Yeah. As you go to take it, she seems to like not let go of it for a second. You can see her fingers, 2 of her fingers are like touching, holding on to one of the 5 figures in the painting, one of the 5 men. But as you sort of take it, she eventually relinquishes it, and you're able to get the picture out and roll it up and safely tuck it away.
What he'll do is, if he can find a burlap sack, something that maybe might have been used to carry something dry, like grain or sand, or it's meant to keep things dry, he'll fold up and roll up the painting and put it in there, seal it, tie it tight, and then with the extra slack, he will make a shoulder, like a baldric kind of sling, and tie it to the underside, and he will put it over Lily so she can wear, like a baldric sack, the painting. And while he's down there, he will look at her, and with as much comfort as a man with Riordan's life can give, he will say, "We are going to march now, always as knights." Then he'll stand up and indicate that she should proceed.
As you're telling her this, she's tucking another piece of parchment into that same burlap so that it's together with the piece of parchment you put in there. And then she kind of stands up and she rolls her shoulder back and she looks you up and down and tries as best as she can to mimic your stance. And she begins to march a little cartoonishly, but she's taking it very seriously. You can see the wooden sword kind of just swinging at the side of her hip as she goes out the door.
He will say one last thing to her. He will say, "Lily, when a knight is exhausted, there is a code they give between one another, so others are not alerted to their exhaustion. Simply touch your left shoulder, and then touch your left elbow, and I will know if you need a rest. I will do the same, so be on watch."
And she practices and kind of looks back up to you as to say, is that right?
Perfect.
And she turns on her heels and marches out. Agatha, as you see them all leaving the cabin and following Ragone, who's heading north, not on the road, but off the road into denser woods in the general direction of the town. At this point, we'll say that the infantry, the undead infantry, and the knights in front, the skeletal knights, have passed. They're still very visible. They're just continuing to move south along the road.
I think Agatha is gonna take some time to cast the spell Alarm, and she's gonna set it right around near the cabin, just so we can hear if anyone decides to come and say hello. So she'll just take time doing that and cleaning up a few tracks around the place. Although she's fairly confident it'll snow again soon. I think she feels a cold, and I don't know if it's a real cold or just because she's so tired, but it's chilly, and looking up at the sky, she's thinking it's gonna snow again. So she'll just tidy up a little.
So you're able to prepare your spell, cast the alarm, tidy up before you are you then reconvening with the others?
I think she'll go around to meet Rook. Not too interested. She can hear all the talking, I imagine, that's going on in the cabin, and she's gonna wait and see what they all decide to do.
All right, so you catch up with Rook at the front of them right as they're all leaving the cabin. And Rook, you see Agatha approach from the tree line to join you.
Or yeah, saw the marching army and kind of lost my mind there.
You know the feeling. What are you all doing? Anyway, is there even a plan?
We have our game plan. I think they have their game plan.
Well, they got their general.
It's tense. They do. They do. But this meeting has been a long time coming. So I watch.
Well, I intend to get moving. The world's moving around us, and there's no point in staying here. Nothing good to be found here.
Yeah. Maybe you should be a part of this. You're part of our crew.
They said I'd help get the general down. I did my part. I'm yet to be convinced it was worth it.
You can have a say in all of this. You bring up good points. You're smart and stubborn, and that's what I like about you.
Well, I'll wait for them to say what they're doing, I guess. We'll see if it matches up with what I'm doing. No doubt they'll be out here proclaiming which direction we're all going, regardless, any second now. It'll either be Honoria or Riordan. Not sure which, but it'll be one of them.
Let's find out. And then Rukon branches off to go to the meeting.
So we'll say that you don't have to travel too far to get into deeper woods, so you're kind of out of view of the actual road. And you find, as the wind whistles and howls between the trees, a little copse. Looks like there has been a fire here before. It's long died down, but you can see beneath the snow just the skeleton of what used to be its base sticking out. And though there's enough room for you to kind of brush snow off of hewn logs and sit down, all of you can fit here in this little copse. It does seem pretty secluded.
I plop the wooden planks down from the bed that I carried with me against a tree, preferably like the widest, broadest tree, and I kind of stick them down into the snow. I throw a couple sheets over them, and then I lead Averin with the pot on her head. I duck down, pull her down. They're like, all right, there you go.
Averin takes off the pot, and for once she looks a little sheepish or embarrassed. Not an expression you see on her face pretty often.
And there is like leftover stew like running down your hair now.
Yeah, it's fine.
Here, get a little,
Right. Thank you.
Probably should have wiped it out first. I was just really... The ideas came so fast.
Tanis, half-elven, takes Lorana, who at some point during the trip kind of doesn't push off of him, but she shifts and he sets her down carefully on her feet, and she actually starts to walk. She still has a dazed and distant look in her eyes, but he guides her into the copse and then leads her to one of the larger tree trunks that has a nice canopy over top. And he kind of helps her sit down there, and he kneels down next to her, and he seems to be kind of like talking to her under his breath. She only responds occasionally with a single muffled word. What's everyone else doing?
Standing alone in quiet contemplation, staring at the moons, brooding.
Very well.
Or the sun, rather. Not directly.
We have a trip that needs to conclude in 3 days. We need 3 stones. We need a way home. Unfortunately, I know how to get what we need to do, but not how to get there. That relies on our friend Nova.
Hi there. It's me.
The star of the show.
We are to go to Malmene, where we will meet this Tandantalus. Has a blood stone and a shadow serpent. Adding those two to and he looks at Averin, green emerald, you will be able to unlock something.
Oh, is it that big door I found down there? In the Dwarven Ruins?
It is.
We're gonna go dragon jousting? Yes! I'm greedy.
And then
Noria mutters a prayer to the old gods.
We have a dragon now as well, Nova. Look how the plan's coming together.
I was thinking about building one myself. I think this one, would suffice in a pinch.
How do you plan on getting those stones from... She almost does my father, but she doesn't.
Oh, he's going to give them to us.
I feel like I have
he doesn't betray us into the Lake of Sound.
How do
my
you
gosh, Riordan, you could see the future?
He looks over to Nova.
At the same time, Tanis is calling out, like, how do you know all this? At the same time, Nova calls out, you can see the future.
Do not doubt my power. Honoria seems a little weirdly edgy all of a sudden.
Oh boy. They woke her up.
Apparently we failed. In a time to come, a time past, we failed. I will not see that happen again.
Yes.
The first of the series has changed. Tanis fell this day in the other place. And yet here he is. Thank the God.
If we could move forward, thinking with our head instead of our hearts, we might start making some more headway. She pulls her cowl up around her and goes back to her angry broodiness.
I'm still not sure exactly what your goal is.
I am working off a map that has been unwritten, Agatha. Pen has not drawn river, yet I am to follow its course. I know this as well as I know where I've been. Wars I have fought, those I have cared for. We must press forward, and you play a vital role.
Alright, Denoria, where are we going and why?
the Lake of Sounds, to kill Fistandantilus, to let blood run free, to put the stones in the door that Nova has. And she looks at all of you, just kind of like wide angle pan, for all of you to get your things in order.
And I don't own the door. I actually don't own any property. It's not my door. It's a door in a ruins.
Yet Nova is going to take us there. She is the guide.
Yeah, I can take you to the door. I can take you to the Lake of Sounds. You just gotta pop in on my friends first, because you know they're kind of. It's a very secret place. Super duper secret.
Can we do this all in 3 days?
Time moves as we will it.
I'll say this. Nova would know this, being a local, that it is about 2 days journey from here to Malmene. To get from Malmene to her friends would be another 3 days journey. Almost.
You have to find a way to walk really fast, because you're talking about smashing a 5-day journey into 3.
We're going straight to Malmene. That is the path that they took before and failed, but we know where the pitfalls are.
If it failed, maybe we should take a different route.
And who took it and why? I'm still stuck on the why of what we're doing here.
I think it was we. We took it. We cocked it all up.
Is this the way we get back out of this place?
Oh, yeah, because y'all aren't from around here. I keep forgetting.
Why do we want to go back? What's so good about back?
We don't go back, the entire world ends.
How do you know?
I've been there. She shudders, and that shudder follows all the way down her robes. And she tries to grab your eyes for a second with her own. And there's always, at least for Honoria, been a bit of trepidation between the two of you. But she tries to impart in a look like how serious this is and how afraid she is. And then goes back to her spellbook.
As Honoria kind of looks down and there's a quiet that's cast over the group, in the distance, in the forest, you can hear a lone howl. It sounds like a wolf. It's far away. Tanis lets go of Lorana's hands and stands up and moves closer to the center of the group, looking between Honoria and Riordan and Nova. And he says, I have a friend who went to the future, saw something terrible. When he came back and told me, I did whatever I could to change my steps. So Riordan, I owe you an apology. I'm sorry that I left you there to face Soth. I wish that you would listen to me. I understand that men like you would rather break than bend. But I, too, had been warned of the future. If you know the future, if you know something terrible is coming, that's a gift. You know exactly what not to do. You know how to get us back to our world. We should be where we belong.
He takes a step towards
See,
Tanis.
when you're a general, though, it's easy to go back if you like it there. If you have something there. Weren't you just telling me yesterday, Honoria, the prophecies aren't real? That we change everything every day in tiny little ways.
We do, she says solemnly, looking at you. Prophecies.
Well, there are tiny little ways that we can change the future. There's not one path.
This is not a prophecy. This is not some interpretation of some god's will. This is something that I have seen. I understand why you are scared to go down this path, but it is the one that we must take.
You're very mistaken if you think it's because I'm scared that I'm not willing.
Then why? Fear can be the strongest motivator. It just depends on what we do with it.
Because maybe my world's already over back there. Because maybe this place is only different, not worse.
Then make a new world, all your own, in whatever place that time puts you.
Time put me here.
Honoria nods, unable to argue with that.
But I'll go with you to the city. I got business there.
I am interested to see your destiny.
And if I can figure out a way to help you do 3 days in 5, I'll do that too.
I am close in my studies, she says, clutching a book. Something that might help us, but it evades me. Being able to travel across great distance. She seems frustrated and goes back into her mind.
My father told me a story once of a man who could write words in the earth. You step into the words and they take you somewhere else.
Riordan steps towards Tanis.
He doesn't back down. He watches you. He looks tired, thoughtful. But any glimmer of indignation from before doesn't seem present currently.
Rukon kind of makes that a triangle.
You understand, Tanis, that I appreciate a man that can apologize for an act such as your own. However, you must also appreciate that I am a student of history. You've made a number of apologies, usually after men have died. To be counted among that group, you do me an honor. And I will accept your apology as the measure dictates. But I still know you. I am not the mirror, Tanis. I am not something that can be convinced that you are anything other than craven.
Everyone's got a role to play. Not everyone can be a knight, or a soldier, or a wizard. I saw Honoria change direction and head for Tanis to help. The battle happened and things went awry, but I saw her intent. And I knew that there was something there. So I rode the back of your dragon. You turned to stone. I ripped you from your saddle. Agatha is the one who saved your life. If all of this is true, if all of the things that my friends are saying are true, they led to that moment. You are to be alive, Tanis. Maybe you shouldn't be masquerading as the role you're not intended to play.
He's looking between Sir Riordan and Rokon. I'm not masquerading as anything. I am who I am. I make the decisions that I make because I'm trying to do the right thing. And while I appreciate the oath and the measure, the men that I have known who swore by such things, great men, the oath and the measure doesn't make you right. There was another who swore by the oath and the measure, and his arrogance destroyed him and those who trusted him. Standing here now, Riordan, while I'm sorry that I left you behind, that I had to, you don't seem the same to me. You seem changed.
That's the thing, Tennis. I haven't changed. I'm not a mirror.
I don't have to get along with you, Riordan. I don't have to convince you of anything. Thank you for finding her, for keeping her safe. Thank you, he looks meaningfully to Ragone, for saving me. I hope it's a debt that I can repay. But right now, we have to go home. If you say that something terrible is going to happen in 3 days, and that the only way we can stop it is to go, then let's go. I don't understand these steps, what they mean, why we have to do one and the other. If we know where we have to go to get home, then why don't we just go?
On
Honoria
that we can
yawns.
agree.
Well, sorry, Garrick, I missed.
On that we can agree.
I don't know this land, obviously, as well as the rest of you. I will help how I can. If you wish me to be with you, I will stay with you. I will not leave my wife's side. Home. We have a child. I would do anything to get back to him. I trust you.
I shall see you home.
Semi-level of agreement with Sir Riordan. He just kind of nods his head, and then he returns to Lorana's side. She's looking up past him towards Riordan, kind of her eyes slowly shifting between the others. She's still quiet at this point. The wind's still howling, and again you hear the cry of a wolf in the distance.
He would approach Lorana.
General, how do you feel?
She smiles weakly up at you, which is not the look that Tanis kneeling down at her side gives you. His is much harder. But she smiles and she says, "A little bit better, but something's wrong. I don't know what he did to me, but I can feel myself changing. I think it's this place."
We shall get you free of it then.
Changing how?
Yeah, how old are you?
is a rude question to ask.
Is it?
Of a young lady.
Oh, yeah, just she's feeling changes, you know, it's just,
I'm gonna bend down to one knee and kind of, I imagine Tanis, Reardon, Lorana, just cozy myself right on in the middle there. It seemed he was taking something from you.
I only remember that it was very painful. I had terrible nightmares. Nightmares of me doing things I would never do. And since I've been awake, everything around seems different. Even in the winter, when I looked at the trees, or at the mountains, or at the sky, I could trace every beautiful detail. I knew how things danced from one place to another. Everything's so gray here. And I feel that on the inside, too.
He is changing you. May I? And I reach my hand slowly to, like, motherly touch her forehead. Does she feel cold? Are her lips blue or pale? Does she seem gray in her skin, perhaps, at all?
She does look a little pale. You would notice that she looked very pale before. It's not that she's gotten a lot of color back, but she looks a little bit better than she did when you first saw her. Her skin's not particularly cold. It's cold outside, but it doesn't feel ice cold. You can make me an Arcana check if you'd like.
Yeah.
Or if you have a specific spell you'd like to use, you could use a specific spell.
Just an Arcana or Death Knight knowledge. If he is trying to change her into an undead or do something to make her his new queen, as in his story's past, or some sort of banshee, is my thought. And I think I have an inspiration that was gifted to me from chat, and I'm definitely going to use that if it's available.
Go for it.
For a natural 20.
So with a 31 on a natural 20, it's now that she's awake that you feel like you can actually connect with her. I think you tried once before, but you couldn't really discern much. You don't know the inner workings of his magic, his artifice, but you can tell that part of her soul has been drained out of her, taken from her. You believe that the purpose of his device was to take her soul without destroying it or permanently harming it, almost to detach it from her body. But the corruption that's kind of she's talking about, it's almost like, imagine if you were to take a piece of bread and tear off a little piece of it, and then fill that piece in, that little corner in, with something like tar. It sticks to the rest. It has the same shape, but it's not what's meant to be there. And you get the sense that this land, which you know to be a corrupting power, is doing that to her now.
It is... You must fight, Lorana. For he desires you more than any other person in the world, and he is taking you piece by piece. You are going to become one of his creatures.
Tanis speaks up. She will not. I will not let that happen to her.
Actually, you would have let it happen to her, because it was Reardon who saved her from the crystal. You weren't there.
Is it really going to be like this the entire way?
Yes.
I think we all just need to sit down in a circle.
Riordan spins on Agatha.
You are free to go at any time, dwarf.
Oh, good. I'll see you later then. And she's gonna go.
I'm going to take this opportunity to go and snuggle against a tree and rest, because I have a feeling this is going to take a while. So,
Which way does Agatha go?
West.
West. So Agatha's tromping through the snow.
I'll see you in Malmedy.
And bloody knights and their bloody duty and their bloody girlfriends.
Ruko looks at Riordan.
She was part of our crew. You might be out of yourself.
And he picks up his shield and marches back after Agatha.
It's really awkward at the camp right now.
Are there any small animals about? I would have been looking for them pretty much this whole time. Squirrels,
Yeah,
rabbits,
give me a survival check.
a lizard, anything really. Survival. That's a 4.
You're not sure if it's all of the undead or the nearby dragons or the town burning, but
Anything about those? Yeah.
the biggest thing you can find is like a little tiny field mouse.
Ooh, can I catch it?
Roll me. How you want to catch it?
Well, let's see what I got here. I want to see if I have a mousetrap in my pocket, but I don't want to kill it. I need it to be alive. It's gonna be a snack. Let's see. Can I see if I have like a cup or a bowl in my pocket?
Yeah, you took some food. You took supplies from the lodge. Yeah, make me, let's call it an acrobatics check or athletics check, your choice. As you're trying to chase down this mouse through the snow.
14.
I'd say that's good enough to catch a mouse. You're a kender, you're pretty spry.
Yeah, and I'll slide sheet of paper underneath it, keep it in there, and then I'll bring it over to. I'll just climb into the tiny little lean-to with Avrin, be like, I brought you a snack.
I thought you were kidding when you were talking about that.
You said you were hungry. You gotta eat. Can't not eat. Eating is very important. Gotta take care of yourself, or you can get hangry. Getting hangry is not fun. That's hungry angry, by the way.
And she'll just look at the bowl on top of a piece of paper. Thank you.
Also, the paper's for you too. So I made you a book. So the next time you go under the arm, you're not gonna be bored. Like, got some paint so you can color it in.
And she does start laughing. That was Avrin.
So, friends, I've titled it "Friends, Not Food."
Thank you, Nova.
So in marching off, am I able to locate Shadow?
Oh yeah. We'll bring Shadow in here in a moment. First I want to know, is Avrin eating the mouse? And how?
Yeah. After she finishes laughing, she just I think she just gently takes the book and mouse package from Nova. And she'll just like very gently like bend the paper a little bit just so that she can reach in and grab this mouse. And as she does, I think she's actually gonna like have it in her hand, and she's gonna kind of turn herself away because she doesn't want to really show people What's she like when she's feeding? So she kind of just brings her hood down a little bit and curls in. She's gonna try to eat this mouse, I guess.
So you link minds with the mouse. You touch your fingertip to its forehead as it's kind of dangling in your finger there. And it starts to shake faster and faster, and then it goes taut, its tail straight down. And you do feed. It tastes like cardboard, but it tastes like something, but only for a moment, and then it's gone. It does not replenish your exhaustion. It's so small a snack because you realize as you're feeding off of this creature's psychic energy that it just doesn't have very much intelligence. You need something more. I will give you advantage on your next charisma saving throw for having eaten at least something, but it doesn't actually make you better.
Yeah. So as the mouse goes taut in her hands, she's it's almost as if she reminded again of her hunger, just having the smallest taste of it. But she'll close her hand, and I think she accidentally like crushes it in just like her need to just focus and that tension. And then we'll just like kind of flick it outside into the snow.
And when she flicks it out, I turn around. So this book. So I put all of us in there. You know, I didn't put him in there yet because, you know, I'm still not sure about that guy, I don't think. And then I also put I have a top 10 best friends list in case you didn't know. So I put them on there too because, you know, you should probably know what they all look like. So in case you meet them. So number 1 on the list, of course, is Mr. Pew Pew. So he's number 1 on there. And then I'm just going to skip, you know, the party because, you know, you already know us, you know, all of us. And then we have my friend here. His name, we just call him the Whispering Beast. He's number 4 on the list. And then you've got my best, one of my best buds, Jerlin. He's an elf. He's pretty cool. He gave me this awesome tattoo on the back. And then number 6 is my other good friend. His name's the Bloody Cobbler. He does real good work, you know, just gives people purpose in life. It's a real noble calling. And then, we also have Guppy here. You can't forget Guppy. He's number 9 on the list. And he's a goldfish. He's big, but he's just real friendly there. And then number 10 is my friend Synthal. We used to date back then, but then, you know, it didn't work out. But we're still friends, you know. So.
I think she's mouths again. And it's like, well, it's good to know, I guess.
Yeah, just so you know. And of course you can color them in. I didn't do a paint by numbers thing. That way you can just get as creative as you want.
Meanwhile, outside, Rokon has been kind of trekking after Agatha. And Bill, you said you were looking for signs of Shadow. You've heard Shadow howl, at least you're pretty sure. You have a connection with the creature, and you believe that that's probably the howl that you've heard. Are you going after Agatha, or are you looking for the wolf?
I can still, I can still see her, so I can still, march in the direction she's marking and keep an eye out for the wolf, right?
Sure.
And then, can I whistle to try to bring Shadow to my side?
Sure, yeah. Roll me an animal handling check.
5.
There's no immediate response. You're not sure if it worked or not. Are you trying to catch up with Agatha?
Shit. Agatha, don't go.
Wrong.
can't split. If
We're all going in the same direction. They're just gonna take 6 years the way that conversation's going.
right, but still, we should go together. One of us can get picked off easily.
Aye, but
You
my
should know that.
accountant says there's 2 of us, Rook.
Well,
Where are you going back?
my objective was to bring you back so we could go at the same time. I'm not one for charming or fancy words, but I want you going by yourself.
I'm pretty good at surviving on my own, and it's not like I'm going to be on my own for long. They'll catch up. Nori will do one of her spells, and they'll whiz on by. When you notice, that's how things go with them.
Yeah.
A lot of words, and then all at once.
For now, but I've got promises I have to keep, and I don't want to abandon them, but I don't want you alone in the woods. I know you can take care of yourself. That's not the issue. It's swarms, things, darkness. It's better when we're together.
Well, I'm not convinced that lot could be stealthy if they tried, and a group of us would be clanking through, but I'll wait here. I can't listen to it anymore. It's driving me up the wall.
Have you ever thought about how you would want it all to end?
What do you mean, all what? The world?
Well, not the world. Your life. You. Did you ever think about... You know it's going to end eventually, fantasizing about a good...
I try not to think about death. That generally invites it in, and I've had enough of it.
Yeah, it's a good point.
You're a soldier, Rook. You know how this goes for us. We got told which way to march, and we march that way. We keep going until we die. And no one gives a shit
I was
about
a
it.
soldier, I was also a slave. Before I was a soldier and a slave, I was a raider. I was a pirate. So many different kinds of rules and honor. It's hard to
But
keep
I bet in
track
both
of.
lives, people just kept telling you what to do, and you kept doing it.
I was the captain. I gave
Oh
the
good, then you
orders.
just yelled the loudest.
I earned my stake. I understand your attitude, that's fine, but there's so many rules to play, so if you could just acknowledge that other people operate off different ones
Oh,
and
I'm
have a
very
little
aware.
give. I just don't... Marching off accomplishes nothing. It's childish.
Speaking of, you should be getting back to Lily, shouldn't you?
Speaking of, you shouldn't be telling me what to do.
But there are so many rules, Rook. So many promises to keep. Look, I don't want to fight with you. I'm just... 1 minute we have 3 days to do something that will take 5. The next minute we're arguing about whose girlfriend that woman is and why it's important. Which direction they should be marching in, forwards, backwards, if they should stand, if they should retreat, who's a coward and who's a knight, and I don't give a shit about any of that. And I don't know why they do, because that's in the past and they're looking to change the future, apparently. Or did I miss something somewhere along the way in that conversation?
That sounds about right. But this is a wager of greater goods. And the greatest good for me is to keep everyone together.
Agatha will look back. Does it look like the party are beginning to move at all?
You've walked a good way off, and though it was sunny before, it's a little cloudier now. And there's a slight mist that's just kind of crawling through the trees. So you can't really see from where you are now.
You may have not thought about how you want to die. But I know how I want to. And it's with these people. That is my wish. You can walk away. This is my path. Those are my rules. Now. So I'm going back. I'm going to try to rally them up. And you can keep going. Or you can come back and help. And he's
I've only got little legs, Rook.
He's gonna pick up his shield and walk back towards the party.
What was it that Agatha said as he's turning back to go?
He says, I've only got little legs, Rook.
Then you'll have to walk twice as fast.
Or I'll wait here and let them catch up. No sense in going back, you know.
That's your word. I'm counting on you.
All right. So Rookon's heading back.
Mm-hmm.
Make me another survival check, Rookon, or rather an animal handling check.
Six.
You hear another howl. This one closer, but it sounds strange, muffled. Maybe from an enclosed space, a cave or something nearby. And as you sort of trace where it's coming from, it's not directly towards the camp, but a little off to the side of the camp. You can't see if there's an opening there or something to go down into. Again, it's just kind of become misty, foggy here.
Done. If I hear him whistling, I think Agatha would understand that it's about the dog. Because she's met Shadow a couple of times. We've had conversations, brief ones. And she'll kind of sigh and she'll go in the direction Rook was going. And as she catches up, she'll say, I'll go and find him. We'll go get the others.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So you're going off, you split in different directions with Rookon going towards camp and Agatha going towards the howl. All right. Let's go back meanwhile. So while Avrin is feeding on the mouse and Rookon is heading after Agatha, we have Honoria resting at camp. We have Sir Riordan, Tanis, and Lorana at camp. What's everyone doing?
Pretending to sleep / sleeping.
Okay.
Yeah, preparing to move out. I mean, as soon as Nova can be directed, that would be the release point so we can begin following her.
So as you're kind of packing up the camp, Lorana gets up to her feet at one point, and Tanis gets up to help her walk, and she kind of waves him off and leans over to him and whispers something in his ear. And he stands back and leans up against the tree and watches as she kind of crosses the camp to where you're packing up and getting ready. She approaches you, Sir Riordan. She says, will you tell me what's going on?
I fear that Honoria is best to talk of your condition. I only know of what is to come. The world that we came from will fall. We need to get you back there. We need to get everyone back there. The wizard Fistandantalis is apparently behind all of this. He wants to be
Fiston. When she looks, you can see that there's recognition in her face when you say the name. Are you able to stop this?
Not without all of them.
Then they will need a leader.
They have one. And he nods towards her.
She shakes her head. And she reaches up and very slowly moves to touch your arm, covered in armor, and it's that spot on your arm where there's the groove and there's the token. I'm not the right person for this campaign. You're the general here. You know these people, you know this land. You're the right one.
If that is the case, General, I am aware of the measure. If there is one, any rank that knows the terrain, personal politics or tactics of the enemy, superior to even the highest ranked among them, they can take command. If this is the time, and he looks down at her hand, is it still by his token that he has in his?
It is.
Then I do have information for you, General, though I do not wish to tell you or think. Appreciate hearing it. But if you think my application of the measure to be false, and my motivations sullied, with but a word you can order me to stop. I do not trust your husband.
Her hand does leave your arm, but it's like just for a moment, it's just still kind of hovering there. She looks back, not quite at Tennis, and then down to the ground at her feet, looking confused and distant, says, I fought side by side with you in the Vanguard campaign. I know what kind of man you are, Sir Riordan. I fought side by side with Tanis, too. He didn't always... We've came here together. I trust him. Is that not enough for you?
Only if you order it to be so.
No. I only ask that you keep your mind open.
I would do anything for you.
I know.
If he wishes to try to prove himself again, I will bear witness. But I hold no such hope. And then the words begin to come and he cannot stop them. He caused so much of it. He could have stopped the Blue Lady. He had every opportunity. He failed. And Brightblade fell. He only shifted positions when it benefited his existence. In my opinion, he is, was, and forever will be the enemy's greatest weapon. General.
You say the words, and the expression on her face is though you struck her with a blow. When she pulls back her hand and presses it to her stomach, she looks down strangely at this dress that she's wearing. And she nods her head thoughtfully. And she looks back up at you with tears in the corners of her eyes. I understand your judgments of him and what you must think of me. But that does not matter now, sir. You might not trust him, but I trust you. Take us from this place. And if we can help the people here in this world, if we can make things better, then let us make things better.
As you say, General. He will bow and turn to leave.
And she watches you go, her mouth open as though she wants to say something else, but you turn, and she turns, and she returns to the other side of the camp. Sir Riordan, are you going to continue to pack up and get ready to go? Is that your intention?
Yep.
Roll me a perception check.
Good's my speciality. 6 strong.
You're packing up camp while Honoria is sneaking in a short rest. You don't notice it until it's kind of already through camp that the daylight is faded and a heavy fog is rolling through. It's actually kind of hard to see much further than camp itself. You can see the other side. You can see the little makeshift tent where Nova and Averin are down inside. You can see Honoria where she's resting. But your surroundings are starting to fade. You can hear somewhere off in the distance, not too far, the howl, the lone howl of a wolf.
We must leave.
All right, let's go.
All right, let's go.
How is the sunlight out right now?
How you doing? We need to rust up.
It's gotten pretty cloudy. You can't really see the sun. You can make out that the skies have darkened overhead. So right now in camp is Nova, Averin, and Sir Riordan, and Honoria. Agatha and Rookone have left camp at this point.
Going to get up groggily.
All right. So the plan is we're going to go to Malmany, get the Dragonlance for some dragon jousting, and then go over to the Lake of Sounds in the secret spot that it is very secretly hidden. Before we do this, I just have to know, how wanted is everybody in the city of Malmany? Any warrants out for arrests or anything?
How are the jails there?
I mean, I've broken out of them plenty of times. It'd be easier than that one. She'll kind of just gesture with her thumb over her shoulder in the direction of the mountain that she intentionally went into, broke out of, and then went back into it, and then broke out of again. It's easier than that one.
I don't think any of us have been there yet.
Awesome, just me then. That's good to know. All right, so, we'll go down to the Dwarven Ruins, get that thing out. And then we're going to meet up with my friends at the White Rose. And they're going to, they're going to be really happy to meet you guys. We could probably swing by the funeral on the way there. There's a group of wanderers that are going around. Their leader died. What was their name? Magda? And so one of her two daughters are gonna become the new leader. One of them's, can't remember one of them. It's been a while since I've seen him, but the other one's name is Inza. So we could probably stop by there and just pay respects real quick, just because
That would be lovely.
Yeah, we can just stop by on the way. It's on the way, really. So.
Aaron definitely shoots a look over at Raccoon.
Raccoon's not there currently.
Oh shit! Right, she's like looking for him. Be like, "Fuck, okay, need to."
On the way, say.
Operin, you can hear Raccoon's weird bird call not too far from camp.
On the way from Melmany to Lake of Sounds. It's right there on the way. It's in the desert.
Then let's go. Why don't you lead the way to Inza now?
I thought we were supposed to go to Malmane first. I mean,
you said it's on the way.
I mean, from Malmane to Lake Sounds. It's not on the way to Malmane.
So you have this choice. I'll give you this, Nova. You have this choice. If you want to try to go, you could get to, unless you have some faster means of travel, you could get to where the meeting is happening, or you could go to Malmane.
Yeah.
But you can still get from Malmane to your friends. But if you want to go to the meeting with the Wanderers, then you'd have to go there first.
The only way we could probably get there real fast is if I shrink everybody down them and send them through a buddy bag to the desert. They're all connected.
Let's start walking, I say.
Okay, I haven't tried it yet, but it's theoretically possible. I just had to send a note first to my friend Jerlin.
How well do you know Inza?
Not terribly. I knew Magda better. She's dead now.
Good. I mean, how unfortunate.
I don't know how she died, so I just heard through the grapevine that there is a message. Speaking of which, and she'll kind of pull out a buddy bag and hand one to Riordan and one to Honoria.
What is this?
They're all connected. So if I put in this note, if you reach in your bag, you'll find it.
I reached in because I don't believe a fucking word that Kender say about shit, and
find the note.
How interesting.
So if we need to whoever said, and they were give or take a couple, about 100-mile range to them. So it's pretty convenient.
I would like to study Lorana's condition further, in hopes to aid her. Pick a direction and be done with it.
All right, everybody raise your hand who wants to go to Malmane. Okay. All right, everybody raise your hand who wants to go to the funeral. Okay, we got one.
No, I'm going. My hand was up for Malmane.
For Malmane. Okay, sorry. There was a bit of. I went too fast. I should count to 10 before changing. So Malmane.
Which direction is Malmane in?
Oh, it's northwest from here.
Oh, good. And he starts walking to the northwest.
All right, let's go. Go to Malmane. I'll just send a note for the funeral. It'll be fine. It's like, my deepest respects. Jordan, please deliver this. Okay.
Everybody heading off northwest together. Tennis.
Yeah, Aubrey will actually take front, and she'll go a little bit ahead, but she's not going to not too far.
With you.
Doing the scouty thing.
Okay. Roll me a perception check.
Okay.
I'm also still looking for small animals.
If you want to look for more small animals, you can roll me another survival check at disadvantage because it's foggy.
22.
That's a narrative point. 10 is a small.
Lindy, Nova is able to find, and we'll say with a 19 actually catch, like a full rabbit this time.
And I'll just, nonchalantly kind of saunter up towards the front with this rabbit.
Avrin, roll me a stealth check as well.
Okay.
You have advantage on this.
I'm gonna be looking for like,
Good.
Avrin, got you a stand.
That's actually a 21 because I have reliable talent.
Awesome. So you kind of sneak ahead of the group as you all head off in the direction that Nova points out through the fog. And Avrin, you see 3 shapes, and you kind of move forward, and you're able to like find a patch in the fog where you can kind of make out who they are. You see Rookone coming towards you in one direction, making that sound again. And then you see off in another direction, walking away from you, a short, stout figure. And I'd say with a 22, you're able to tell that it looks like the shape of Agatha moving off away from you. You see another shape there through the fog. This one taller, skinny, cowled, looks like maybe hooded.
Okay. She is going to hold her hand up behind her to stop everyone.
I'm gonna hide if I can see that.
You can roll me a stealth check if you want. And Rookone, at this point, you've been coming back towards the camp, and you actually see them leaving the camp towards you at the same time. You can make out, I think with a 20, you probably don't see Avrin, but you can see the group of them besides Avrin.
I didn't roll perception.
You can roll perception, yeah. If you can beat 20, then you also see Avrin. But you have a disadvantage through the fog.
Gotcha.
See Avrin hold her hand up. I just freeze at the rabbit like it's like red light, green light.
It twitches its nose. Yeah,
Nice.
you can see the rest of them, but you don't see Avrin there.
Okay. I'm gonna say, I see we are going now.
She
Yeah.
puts up a finger to the others and probably hear her voice at least hushed.
Yeah.
I think, and what she'll do is she'll point at Rookone. She'll kind of point in the direction where Agatha was and show like the height. And then she's going to say, third one that way, and point in the direction of where that other figure was.
And I don't know about this third person. Like, we didn't come here with a third person. Correct?
Yeah, you can see now, like through the fog, it looks like you can make out Agatha. You don't see a third shape. You just see Agatha trumpling away. You saw her go off. You guys split. She kind of went off in a slightly different direction. You can still kind of make her out as she moves between 2 trees. She's also pretty loud.
So the direction that Avrin told me to look, I'm gonna look and bring my shield up.
I'm gonna go ahead. See if I can get Agatha back. And I think she finally notices Nova with the rabbit.
Yeah.
She's been there the entire time.
It gives her like a half-hearted smile. And she's going to start walking kind of in the direction of Agatha quietly, but she's going to pick up the rabbit out of Nova's hand on the way.
It twitches its nose at you too.
Yeah, it's real cute, but Avrin's real hungry.
Is Averin feeding before she goes? And what's everyone else doing? We'll cut to
Yes.
Agatha here in a minute.
Yeah, she is feeding.
Now that I've proceeded to give the snack, I was really hoping I didn't have to put it in the 10-minute fridge, also known as my arm. So I'm just gonna try to sneak and kind of hide. Maybe behind a tree, but looking in that direction that she's walking. Keep eyes on her.
Roll me a stealth check. And what's Sir Riordan doing?
Sir Riordan would tell Lily to follow the others and hide, but he is incapable of doing such.
He just stands there, very out in the open, or is he doing something?
The best that a knight can do is stand still, and so he's just going to stand still. He's not allowed to hide, and if I move, I'm going to give away my friends. So he's just going to stand still.
And
There it is. That's what I was waiting for.
right. As you try not to rattle, Lily nods dutifully. She trips over a tree branch, but she does scramble and she goes over towards where Nova's hiding. Tanis and Lorana kind of stay behind. Lorana makes the move. She's going to step forward and join the rest of you, but Tanis kind of puts a hand on her shoulder and says, "No, stay back. Let them deal with it." Averin, go ahead and make me one more stealth check.
All right. Stealthy. Again, that's a 21 because reliable talent treats any roll lower than a 10 as a 10 plus my modifier.
Rogues, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you move through the tree line in the direction following Agatha pretty quickly. And move back to Agatha now. So Agatha, I want to get into your mindset real quick here. You've stomped away. You've had your conversation with Rookone. What's she thinking right now? What's she doing as she follows this sound of a howl?
I think she's feeling some anxiety as Rook did raise the idea of basically being alone and raise the idea of considering the death she would like, but there are other deaths that are coming to her mind beyond her own, fairly recent ones and ones that are slightly less recent. And I think with that in her head, her body is becoming more and more hunched and crouched, and she's going into that road warden state of mind as she remembers, being in the woods, battling with not just the wyvern that we remember last week or when we last played, but other kind of skirmishes that have happened, and the fog rolling in and obscuring things is unsettling as she remembers magic being cast over her in similar ways as well. And it's one of those things where the world becomes more and more spooky and it's like creeping through your house at night. It's your house, you locked all the doors and it's safe and stuff, but you start jumping at your own reflections and surfaces and sounds and shadows that were familiar seem weird, only this isn't a familiar place either. And she just watched the skeleton army march just down the road, not that far away. So she's scrunching down, hastening her movement towards the sound of the animal, and the sound it's making is so disconcerting and chilling too. And in her head, she's doing the what if game, the what's the worst case scenario game. And every time she thinks of something, she thinks something worse. And so she's just kind of scouting forwards, gonna get this dog, gonna get back to Rook, gonna get moving, because this is a bad place. Everything about this area has been miserable and brought death, and she wants to not be here.
And as all of this is parsing through her mind, you hear that sound again, and you make out what looks like, maybe it's a little cliff. You're not sure if there's like a cave on the other side of the cliff, but it sounds like that howl is coming from just over the other side of this little ridge. You're crawling between trees and following it along. And at this point, Averin, you've managed to also follow. Is Agatha trying to be sneaky here at this point?
I think so. I think it's not necessarily like a conscious thing. It's just naturally she's becoming smaller and kind of moving quietly. I will make a stealth roll for you.
Please do.
And I'll use one of my
Inspirations.
18.
All right. Kiana, make me another perception check.
Okay, I'm gonna use an inspiration for this one.
Yeah, that'll cancel out your disadvantage.
Yep. That's a
17.
Reliable talent again, 19.
19. Yeah. So with a 19, you're actually able to find her. She almost slips past you for a second. She gets small and moves behind a tree, and you lose Agatha for a moment. And then you see her. And if you'd like to, you can connect with her. You can catch up with her.
Yeah, she's gonna do that. And again, kind of keeping an eye out for that figure that she saw.
You don't see a figure now.
Yeah, but she is very on edge, and she's gonna get closer. And I think she's gonna stay like an arm's reach away or a weapon's reach away before she's like, Agatha.
And she doesn't vocalize the startle, but she definitely becomes rigid and twitches in the direction of the voice.
Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you.
What's he doing?
The rest have already, finally started heading out. But there's probably something else out here. Someone else.
Which direction?
And she's gonna kind of like point in the general direction that she last saw this figure. Last sight of them when I was trying to come and catch up with you.
Have they seen me?
You were heading in this direction.
Maybe they just heard the dog as well.
She's gonna look behind. She's gonna see, like, do we have like footprints in the snow?
Yeah, Agatha would also be going into track mode of, alright, someone else out here, where are they?
Yeah, roll me survival checks. You can definitely see the footprints you've left behind.
Oh, I wish I'd used inspiration.
That's a 15 on my end.
With reliable talent.
Mm-hmm.
So with a 15, you can see only your own footprints. You don't see any wolf prints. You don't see any other tracks.
Right, if we're getting the dog, we have
Belong
to
to the hunter.
do it real fast and follow
This-
follow our footprints back to the group before we lose track of them.
Could be a ghost, you know. There are a few of them up the castle. Strange phantom types.
Always stick close to each other.
Never did like undead things. Sure.
I think she'll kind of stiffen up a little at that, but shrug it off. Well, I hope you don't mind too much being around me.
Why would I mind? You're an elf, aren't you? You
Thank
don't
you.
hold true to that whole elf dwarf thing, do you?
No.
Then we'll be fine. Wait, you're not a general as well.
I think she smiles at that, and then you would see the fangs
Christ. All right. I don't know. Pick an appropriate Dragonlance deity and insert there.
Paladine.
That one. Oh, Paladine. Hey, how long has that been a thing?
Since you've known me.
Well, you haven't eaten me yet. I suppose we're all right. And she's gonna start moving away, trying not to think about that problem too much.
Did I manage to eat the rabbit before I came? Am I just still holding a rabbit here, Dawn?
No, let's say that as you were sneaking off, you like bent around a tree and you did the same thing. You touched your finger to the temple. You felt that vein in your temple pulse like a heartbeat faster and faster and faster. And you drained the psychic energies. The rabbit's nose twitched faster and faster and then stopped twitching. But again, it tastes like cardboard. You can taste it for a moment and then it's gone. The rabbit might even be less intelligent than the mouse that you ate before. So this is not going to give you any meaningful sustenance.
Yeah, she's getting frustrated, but she's not going to show that as she just, again, just kind of drops it to the ground. But yeah, she is with Agatha.
And you are heading in what direction? Back towards the rest of the group?
Towards Shadow.
Yeah.
You're moving towards the ridge that you heard the howl.
Yeah, but I'm sticking. We're sticking very close together.
All right. So the two of you sneak towards the ridge and you hear another howl. And as you do, the fog begins to dissipate a little bit. And back towards the rest of the group, everyone's hiding. Rookon, are you hiding as well?
I was responding to Averin's pointing in the direction and interpreting that as a threat. So I had my shield up and I was looking around.
You're ready. She's gone for several minutes. And as she's gone, you hear a howl again. The mists are starting to get a little lighter now. Roll me a perception check, Rookon.
Okay. 20.
You can see a fairly large shape bounding through the mist towards you.
Does the shape seem familiar?
It seems bestial almost. Maybe bestial.
And
You'll know in a minute.
Yep. He rights his shield and broadens his stance, preparing to take an oncoming charge.
As you kind of prepare, you see the shape bounding towards you, your eyes locked on it, and you tell a few moments before it gets to you that it is Shadow. It is the wolf. It bounds towards you and then stops. It plants its haunches on the ground and turns up its nose, and it howls mournfully, almost like something is wrong.
So what happened? And then could try to commune with beasts, speak with animals. Sorry.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So throw that up and roll 20.
Yeah. Sorry, it's going to take me a second to find it. I'm operating on a very small situation.
Oh, it's okay. What are you trying to communicate? What is the message? Is this
What I'm just trying to ask him what happened.
And it howls again. And go ahead and roll me. Let's call it an insight check, but I'll give you advantage. Or an animal handling, I'll give you advantage. Your choice.
Let's do animal handling.
You believe for a moment when it howls that you discern its words. You think it says, "They're gone."
Where? Who's gone? Show me.
It howls again and turns and darts off back in the direction it came from.
I'm gonna follow it. I'm gonna follow Shadow.
Is anyone else following?
No,
I'll
I'm
follow
staying
Ragone.
to Lorana and Tanis.
So Honori's, yeah.
Can we see what's going on, like from the back?
Yeah, I would say you could see that Rookone, it looks like Rookone is bending down talking to a wolf. You've been with Shadow, so it's close enough now that you can make out that it's the same wolf. And it howls twice and then turns and runs off into the woods, and then Rookone stands up and begins to charge after it.
Riordan would follow, but he would make sure that Lily's with them, and he would make sure that fucking Tanis is bringing Lorana too, so they're not dangling back there as soft bait.
How are you convincing them to come along?
Right this way, General.
Tanis kind of seems like to be hanging back and holding on to Lorana, and Lorana grabs his arm, and you can tell that even though she's weak, that she's gripping it as hard as she can right now, and she looks to him kind of sternly and says, "He's the general here. Tanis, do what he says." And she pulls off of him and begins to move towards you, and Tanis fires steely eyes over her shoulder at you, and then he follows.
Yeah, we'll get fucked, Tanis. Okay, so, yeah. Going on.
Rookone, you're in the front. And so, Honori, are you following too then if they're coming along?
Mm-hmm. I'm staying right behind Tanis.
Rookone, you are chasing down Shadow. It's moving quickly between the trees, and it's a wolf. It's fast. You're fast too. As a Minotaur, you're almost able to keep up with it. You're able to keep it from losing sight. And as you're chasing it, the fog is lifting more and more. The mist is lifting more and more, and it goes up to the top of a ridge, a grassy ridge, and howls. And then it turns back and looks at you.
And can I discern any sort of emotion from Shadow sitting on top of it?
It's like it's trying to communicate the same thing it's been trying to communicate this entire time.
All right, so then I'll go to the top of the ridge.
Roll me a perception check. Or survival, your choice.
Perception. 24.
As you're moving along, now that the fog is lifted, you see tracks. You know that they are Avrin's tracks. You've seen her tracks before, and then the heavier footfalls that you believe are probably Agatha's. And they're following up in the same direction to the top of the ridge. And then they stop. And with a 24, you know what it's like for somebody to double back their tracks. You've been a raider. You've done a lot of tracking in your time. And you don't see how their tracks have doubled back. They're just gone. Now that you're at the top of this ridge looking out, it's just more forest with a light dusting of early winter snow, ice hanging from the branches.
I'm going to stand in the spot where they stood as the fog is dissipating. I'm going to let out a very angry roar, and I'm going to punch a nearby tree with the shield hand.
Nova is like right behind you. Everybody else is not far back catching up. So Nova, you're pretty much there when he punches a tree.
I eye the tree warily to see if it deserved it, and then I kind of like nod. And I'll be like, so what's the plan?
They've been taken.
And I go to the spot on the tree where he punched. If it's too high, I punched, and I just kind of like brush the tree off. I pull out a note, and I write on it, and I go, and I say, Dear Avrin or Agatha, this is Nova. We lost sight of you. Please respond with where you are, and I put it in the buddy bag, because I know Agatha. Hopefully we'll hear from him soon.
You slip the note inside the body bag.
Body bag, not a body bag.
Buddy bag, sorry. My bad. We'll get there.
Oh, no.
As everybody else catches up at the top of this ridge, but we're gonna cut away to Agatha and Avrin. And you're moving up to the top of this ridge, and the sound of the howl. And when you reach the top of the ridge, the fog gets thicker and thicker, rolls over you. You can't see what's on the other side. Now you hear the howl behind you in the direction you just came from.
Well, if we're still following, we should maybe head that direction.
Oh, let's see what is in the direction we're going. Something's tricking us and leading us around the houses. I'd rather see which thing it was leading us to begin with. Maybe we'll see some sign of magic or whatever it is.
Can't say I feel easy about separating so far like this.
We're no further than we were. Just a few more steps. We'll be able to see over the edge.
All right.
And I've seen you. You move fast.
I don't think I could say the same to you.
I don't have to move fast. I just stop them from moving fast.
We might have to move fast soon.
Well, we'll worry about that when we have to start moving. Let's look. Creep up to the edge. Not like this. I wouldn't do this.
Much stronger and cooler looking than that. Avrin, are you creeping as well?
She's like half a step behind. And rather than looking forward, she's kind of looking side to side.
Both of you can roll me a perception check. The fog has gotten thick, but Agatha, as you creep to the edge, it begins to part. It's almost like a wind. Two winds are blowing it in opposite directions, opening the way forward for you. And
I'll use an inspiration, by the way.
And mine will be a 19.
20. With a 20, well, we'll get there in a second. So what you see as the fog begins to part and you look over this ridge is a sandy shore and a lapping body of water, waves crashing against the shore. It's cloudy outside still. It's dark and gloomy, and you can see a crackle of lightning in the distance. But with a 20, you happen to glance northward, and you see not far north of you, just down the shore, a large city. And you've seen this city before, the city of Malmene. You can see the ships coming in and out of port along the river here.
That's how she took me. I'll tell you quick, Avrin, when I was in the city before, there was a small incident. Someone was getting picked on and I helped out only. They were there for me and Lord Soth wanted me here. This must be it. The route they take. Should get the others. Save a lot of time. I don't know why they're showing us this route, but I'll take it.
Avrin, as you're glancing side to side, you notice a small note pop out of the buddy bag that Agatha has, and it falls to the ground.
Yeah, sure. She'll just lean over and pick it up and just read it. You wouldn't happen to have a pen on you, would you?
You hear a sound from behind you answer you. I have a pen.
Turning immediately around with the weapon drawn.
You turn around, and there behind you, just at the edge of the ridge, the shoreline, there is a figure in leather armor with an ivory hilted rapier hanging at his belt, his hood up, gray, black speckled beard, neat and trimmed. It's Hawk. It's Fistendantilus. It's your father. And he looks to you and then looks at Agatha.
She shifts so that she is directly in front of Agatha.
Friend of yours?
No.
Come on now. We don't have a lot of time. I've gone through a lot of trouble to bring you here. Do you want to tell your friends where you are? And he offers you a quill.
For a price.
There's no price. Averin, I want you by my side when we save the world.
Oh no. Is he a general? Is he your boyfriend?
I think Averin just makes... She's not even facing Agatha, but she makes such a visceral... This is Fistendantilus.
They kept saying that name.
Man, I used to call my father.
Well, there's still time, daughter. And he takes a couple of steps towards you. And that we'll pick it up right there next time. That is where we're going to end tonight.
I'm gonna mute myself before I scream.
We found the city, we found the dude. This is going great. We just need his 2 stones. Averin's got the other one. I can get to the door, find what I'm gonna do. Everyone else is out of my way. This is great. Perfect episode, lots of progress.
Technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. But, yeah, okay.
Thanks, I hate it.
Oh, man.
It's like, well, they got Melanie covered. Let's go to that funeral.
Well, at least you have the buddy bag. That was brilliant. Now you have a legit telephone system worked out. I'm sorry that I called it the body bag. That's really what I thought you were calling it all episode.
No, it's a buddy bag.
And that makes more sense.
Body bag.
Makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, buddy bags.
Oh man! All right, so we're gonna run one more poll for everyone in chat, and because Simon donated, everyone gets to level up for next episode. You all get cooler. I think most of you go up to level 11 now, which is an awesome level to hit. So that's really cool. Thank you very much, everybody. It's really great to be back playing again. We've been off for a couple of weeks because of moving and conventions, and then a couple of weeks before that because of marriage and things. It's about to be a roller coaster ride to however this thing ends. So I know that we have a lot of guests coming up. I'll be reaching out over the next few days, trying to schedule everything coming forward. But I'm just really glad to be back. I felt like we got a lot of really great character interactions tonight. I love, like, it's a very disparate party. There's a lot of people who want very many different things, but like any family, somehow you still manage to just trundle along and do it together one way or the other. So I'm excited to see what comes next. But in the meantime, before we go around here in a circle, everybody go ahead and roll me a charisma saving throw for corruption. And we'll deal with that here in a minute. Honora, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can.
I always do, just for fun. I'm kind of hoping that you'll let me give mine to Lorana so she can become a banshee.
I love that idea. That is absolutely what I'm going to do. I don't know if she'll become a banshee, but we'll see what happens. So
every time.
Let's go ahead and start. Tia, how are you doing tonight?
Really great. My favorite moment tonight was actually between Agatha and myself, because I realized Agatha is sitting on a whole like stack of backstory that is, what I'm guessing, probably real sad. So my interest is definitely peaked in that. I'm having fun. I'm glad we're back. 3 days left. Scary. Thank you for that massive donation, Simon. Heck yeah, leveling up is awesome. You can find me here, and I'm going to be starting up another D&D campaign soon. I have no idea what channel that's going to be on yet, which is strange, but it's going to be fun. I think it's Ravnica based. I don't really know too much about it yet, but I'll be in 2 campaigns a week. Very exciting. I don't have much to add. I loved Gen Con. I love seeing all of you, and I'm hoping to make it to PAX Unplugged, so crossing fingers for that, so we can do things and stuff, and I love the faces. It's me.
Yay. Yeah, Gen Con was a lot of fun, and I'm excited about your Ravnica campaign. Please tell me more about that when you can.
I will as soon as I read the PDF.
There you go. So I'm sorry to break this news to you, but with a 12, you actually succeed your saving throw for this episode. So Lorana gets a break. Let's go on over in the meantime to Billy. Hey, Bill, how are you doing?
What's up? I'm doing all right. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Gen Con was awesome. This episode was really cool, really dense with roleplay. That roleplay I had with Charlie was like Charlie's roleplay is like a fine wine. It gets better the more you drink. And yeah, it's awesome. Like I was really looking forward to this whole episode for a lot of reasons, because like I really wanted to see Riordan kick Tannis's ass. And just, note for next time, I think we left the dragon behind, but no big deal. We don't need that at all.
You guys have too many NPCs. It's there. It's with you.
Yeah, so you can find me at Bill of the Forest. Gen Con was awesome. Thank you for all the donations. Thanks for everybody to tuning in on the VOD. It's super dope. Really looking forward to the next time we get to play. You can catch me on Realms Remembered here coming up shortly, 6 p.m. on Mondays on this very channel. Having a great time. This is the high point of my week. So thanks for making it all possible.
Yeah, this is the high point of my week too, and I loved Rookone today. I loved that he tried. Like, I actually really enjoyed the scene with Agatha and Rookone. It's one of my favorite. I don't think we've had a lot of interaction with those two at that level yet, so that was really cool. I guess the bad news is that you rolled a nat 1 on your charisma saving throw. So I want you to roll me 2d6.
Okay, here we go. All the love.
So you gain 5 corruption.
All right, let me see where that puts me. Sorry. I think I stay. Nope, I go. That thing's at past 10.
All right, so you were lawful good, correct?
Yep.
So you don't have to say which way you shift, but you are going to shift. This is the constant fight with Rookone. the battle for his conscience and who he is. So I kind of love it. You do get to level up again, so that's cool. But yeah, think about that between weeks, and we'll get back to that, and we'll see it come out and play. Let's go over now to Lindy. Hey, Lindy.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing spiffy. This was a very welcome reprieve and 3-hour break from packing my entire house and moving this weekend. So thank you all for making this absolutely lovely. I had a lot of fun. Nova got to get maybe Avrin out of her shell a little bit. She's determined to make her feel included. Can't wait to meet Mr. Fisty soon. That's gonna be fun. Because Fist Tandantulus is just too much for a Kinder to say, and I'm sure he'll understand. I'm really excited for next week and getting this show on the road. Yeah, you can find me online at LaughLoveLindy on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Pretty much everything on my channel is on hiatus for another week or two until I get fully moved, or at least all my stuff in one place and me in that same place and set up in Florida. But yeah, stay tuned because things are happening.
Cool. I want you to roll, because you failed your corruption saving throw.
Yeah, I did.
1d6.
1d6? Oh man, I thought they were d4s.
Not this time.
Oh no, this could be really bad.
What's that put you at?
Puts me at 9, Dom?
But you're so close to going to chaotic evil.
I'm so close.
Okay, but the good news is, in the fight for this Kender's sanity, you did win our poll for redemption this week. So Nova gets the redemption. You get to roll 1d4.
Oh, okay.
So let's see how much redemption you gain.
Okay.
All right. What's that totally put you at? Are you at 3 total? 6? All right. It's a race.
I've never succeeded one of these charisma saving throws at the end of any episode, so I don't think it's much a race as much as
an inevitability.
An inevitability.
Lindy did mention to us in chat before we went into the show today that she can fireball herself 9 times a day. That is an option.
Yep.
So cool. Congratulations on the move. I hope the rest of it goes painlessly for you.
Well, after this weekend's the big thing, and then after that, it's just all the little stuff falling into place. So,
yeah. Let's go over to Avrin. Hey, Kiana, how are you doing?
No. I have feelings? Yeah. Avrin thought that maybe she could avoid her dad for a little longer. No. It's fine.
I mean, you did chase down Agatha.
I did chase down Agatha. I was trying to be a good person, which ends me in front of my dad again. So no good deed goes unpunished. But I really, really like the interaction between Avrin and Nova. Nova got Avrin to laugh, which is new. So that's fun and really cute. Yeah, we'll see how that friendship keeps developing and all that fun stuff. And we'll see what happens next week. And let's just hope that Avrin doesn't feel like she wants to kill her dad again. She's tried it twice now. Yeah.
That is the question. How long will it take before she tries to kill him again?
Yeah, no. It's just normal assassin things to think about. Until next time, you guys find me over on Twitter. I'm going to plug that I have a charity stream going on this Saturday. I am running Bluebeard's Bride over on Kitty Face's channel at 8 p.m. Eastern. It is within the Dark Carnival scenario. So we are, instead of in a manor, we are going to be in a circus, and I get to be the groundskeeper for that twisted little game. I have created specially donations so that audience can interact and be part of the horrors, both in-game and in meta. It's going to be really awesome. And all funds will be going to Yellow Fund, which is the Alabama support for abortion clinics and making sure that women have access to that, because the horrors that these characters will face in game, real life women should not face. So we are supporting all that. So definitely come and hang out with us over there. Yeah, super excited for that. And man, next week can't come soon enough, y'all.
We will see how many more cute animals Oberyn leaves in her wake next week.
Listen, she's hungry, okay?
I'm gonna keep bringing you snacks. You're not taking care of yourself.
I think Lindy said
the money bag.
Yeah, Lindy said that the which is very accurate. The mouse was the psychic equivalent of a Cheez-It. That's what she's trying to.
She's gonna put snacks in the 10-minute fridge.
That cardboard taste. All right, so definitely go and check out Kiana's charity stream. Bluebeard's Bride's an amazing game. I haven't seen a lot of people play the new settings yet. The Dark Carnival is one of them. It looks really awesome, and it's for a great cause. So please, if you're watching this, check out that charity stream. And Kiana, because no good deed goes unpunished, please roll me 1d6. And gain that much corruption.
Only one. See?
All right. So what's that put you at?
Only at 4. I just turned. Chaotic neutral.
All right. Well, better luck me next time. Let's go over to Charlie.
I was just saying in chat that it seems to me like Oberyn just needs to eat her dad. He has a big, tasty magic brain, and it's right there. And I'm where
Sure, that won't backfire.
We'll see how Oberyn, the hungry vampire, gets through life. I had an amazing time today. While we're on the subject of vampires, I do want to plug that Lost Girls podcast premiered last week on Friday. We're on iTunes, the RSS feed thing, and we will be on Spotify shortly. Features Lindy and Kiana and a whole host of amazing role players. And a new episode will be coming up on Friday. It's hosted on the Encounter Roleplay Network, so keep an eye out for tweets there, where you can find us at New Vampstam. All reviews are like hugely appreciated on a personal level as well as an algorithmic level. That like 20 seconds of your time changes everything. So if you do have that time, I hugely appreciate that feedback. And yeah, so that's my little shameless horrible plug. But it's a lot of fun. It's an 80s vampire sitcom, for lack of any other description, using the Cypher system. So yeah, but yeah, tonight was amazing. It was really cool to be back with this gang. Killer roleplay as ever. I'm just waiting for Tannis to get a knife in him. I don't know if it's going to go in the front or the back. Depends, I guess, which way he's running, but we will find out. Yes, I love all these people very much, and I super appreciate Agatha and Rook's relationship and how we see in it still Rook developing, and I will fight you for his soul, Jonathan Fry. I will fight you for it. It's the best soul in the party. We're not going to lose it.
Noted. Go check out Lost Girls podcast. It's awesome. Please do review, and don't wait to review. Go ahead and do it now. The first 30 days of a podcast are really important. They need all the reviews they can get so that they can get higher in the charts. It's just how it works. So hit Charlie up on Twitter or one of us who've retweeted it. Check it out. And in the meantime, Charlie, you passed your corruption saving throw. Congratulations. You got voted on to gain corruption by the audience. So roll me 1d4.
Alright, 1d4.
This part of the game makes me so happy. You gain 3 corruption.
It's not enough, Don. Try harder.
All right, I will. Thank you very much.
Just 3 more to go.
Before I send it over to Greg, I'll say my part. I'm Jonathan Fry. You can find me on Twitter if you don't already follow me. I tweet about the things that I'm up to, a lot of things with these people because I love these people. Other games, I write a lot of things. I'm going to be doing a lot more of that coming up. I'm going to announce something tomorrow that has to do with that. But I'm very happy to be back here. This is very much my favorite part of my week, my favorite story that I'm telling that I've told in a long time with some of my favorite people in the world. So thank you for being here, for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, You want to check us out live Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come on over. You can't see the chat on YouTube, but our chat for the live show is awesome. Really great, supportive, intelligent, kind, creative people who just love good stories. And that's what we're all about here. So that is me.
Dawn, I think
yes.
there's something you might be forgetting. People are always saying, fight me, Dawn. And that's going to be a real thing for me and Dawn, because we're doing a Raceland and Grump fan race showdown. And I'm getting the stats as we speak. So more information on that soon, but we're going to have a wizard duel. And
it's going to be WWE Raceland versus Grump, and we already know who's going to win, so we don't need to go through it all now. Watch our Twitter. I'm sure you will see a lot of trash talking as this progresses, but it's going to be Raceland. Let's go on over to Greg. Greg, how are things for you tonight? How are you doing? How's it to be back?
Oh, it's great. Fun time had by all. Tanis just pisses me off. He irritates me.
Really?
He gets under my armor. I can't stand. Listen, it's 40 years worth of just, and I started liking Tanis. Dragon's Bottom Twilight, I was a big Tanis fan. Not as big as a Sturm fan, but, and then he just shit the bed. Just royally shit the bed. Just let me down. And at that point in my life, I didn't need like another father figure letting me down. And then he got Sturm killed, so F him. Anywho, yeah, I like playing with everybody. I'm Greg. Anything else, Don?
Yeah, you failed your corruption saving throw.
Maybe I did. But I still have Indomitable, which I'd like to use right now to see.
Oh, so you get to re-roll it. It's not advantage. You actually... So Indomitable does let you re-roll one thing per day, so go ahead and do it. All right, you win this time. No, it's okay. I think it's beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, do you anything coming up for the channel? Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, everybody. Tomorrow, a friend of the channel, Sam, who plays on Charlie's wonderful Sky Chasers game on Sunday, will be here running through his new Kickstarter, The Spy Game, as the original cast of Cthulhu's, Encounter Roleplays Cthulhu gets back together to be bumbling spies, I guess. It's going to be fun. It's going to be tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So join us for that. The aforementioned Sky Chasers is going to be on Sunday at 3 p.m. Join us for that. And then on Monday, we have our new Star Trek game starting at 9 p.m. Back around the horn here for a little May Black Roses Bloom on Wednesday. The Realms Remembered is starting up. And rumor has it, at some point in the pretty near future, we're going to the Old West. So buckle up, everybody. We're going to have fun this whole fall. And look for the announcement if you want to join in our Outbreak Undead for this season. Last year it was zombies. This year, they're Avrans. They'll be vampires. So we're going to have some fun. Join us on Discord if you want to sign up early. So just look right down and you can join us on Discord to sign up for that little fun time early. But I'm done. Don, you're good? Everybody's good? And as the campfire goes down, there's only one thing left to say. You can't always roll nat 20s unless you've got Indomitable. But you can always role play. We'll see you next time, friends.